Hello and welcome back to All Things Trentside. Here we are with episode 7. I mean, it feels like a long time since I've spoke to you guys, but being in lockdown does cause that. I think a lot of people have got that feeling, days feel like weeks, weeks feel like months. Because it was only, I think, last Monday I uploaded of the news that football's coming back. So yeah, this video really is just probably a filler, really, I'd say, before I get into the nitty-gritty stuff next week. I'll go on to that, though, later on in the video. But yeah, if you're watching this, hopefully you know the news that on June the 20th that Forest will be back. And if you don't know, I don't really know where you would have been, to be honest. It's been everywhere. Twitter, the news, Sky Sports, on the telly, everywhere. Football's coming back, so are Forest, to finish their 9 games of the season since it got postponed originally. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So you see, of course, June the 20th, Forest will be continuing their championship campaign where they was meant to before the suspension, and that is with an away trip to Sheffield Wednesday. So last week the fixtures got released. At the moment, Forest are on television, I think, 3 times. Been announced that against Huddersfield, Fulham and Derby, the games that have been selected for TV. But Forest will just be at Sheffield Wednesday next week, going to Hillsborough, behind closed doors, to resume their championship campaign. I will go into more detail about that. I'll do a match review. Match preview, sorry. Review I'll be doing after that. But I will be doing a match preview, of course. I said I wanted to do stuff like this when I first started the channel, when the football eventually come back, and here we are. So this is kind of like just talking about what's going on in the world of Forest since I've last spoke to you. Because I didn't really want to get into the side channel, really, if you would. I've been doing like Team of the Decade. I was going to do my worst Team of the Decade and worst games as well, in reflection to my best games and best Team of the Decade, but now this has all come back and so quick, they'll be saved for probably when the season ends. I mean, if you would like to see that, comment down below, let me know on Twitter. Like I say, feedback's always welcome. But back into it, yes, so I'll do a preview, probably. I'll upload that next Friday, probably, just before the game, so you can have a listen, see what I think is going to happen. So I won't go into it all now. But yeah, then we travel to... We don't travel, sorry. Huddersfield travel to us for the game that's on telly. And we play, I think, Derby after that, which is going to be an interesting game behind closed doors. But again, I'll get into all these details. But yeah, the fixtures have been released. Forest have 9 games to complete their championship season between now and, I believe it's the 22nd of July the season's meant to be finishing. But I did see a line the other day, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but that Forest will be finishing their championship campaign at home to Stoke on July the 21st, but it's yet to be confirmed. But yeah, hopefully, and that would lead to playoffs as well, but obviously we'll have to see how it unfolds. But it'll be interesting to see how it all goes. Behind closed doors, like I say, we've seen the Bundesliga come back, the Liga, the Premier League's going to come back now. We'll see how Forest adapt to it. But they have started in a very convincing way. If you'd have seen, we played a friendly match. I think it was the FA that said we was allowed to travel no more than 90 minutes to play a friendly game, and we played Wolves. Very good Wolves side. I mean, they did play it down that they did play an under-strength team, but we still went to Molineux and got a 2-0 win. Goals from Tyler Walker and John Bostock. John Bostock's goal was, from the looks of it looked quite good. I mean, it was filmed on what looked like an old Nokia phone. It was so far away, so I don't think you're allowed as close to the pitch anymore, with obviously what's going on in the world. But yeah, John Bostock, good to see him involved in the goals. Hasn't really had much of an impact since he joined, has he? As many would like. But when you come on against Middlesbrough, he really did change the game. So maybe these 9 games coming up, he could be crucial. And the same with Tyler. Tyler Walker, he's got that goal. This gives him a little bit of confidence, that he can come off the bench, or if we do, hopefully we don't, if Graben does get injured or, we're needing a goal, that Tyler can come on and provide that extra firepower. So yeah, it was a good warm-up. I think then we had a game just friendly against, two teams. And a lot of clubs have done that, where one team wears the home kit and one team wears the away kit at the home stadium and they play against each other. I can't quite remember what the score was. I believe it was 2-2. I can't remember the score, but I know Diakabi apparently scored, which, this is going to be really, the end is near time kind of thing, the Homer Simpson meme. But now, hopefully, again, gives Diakabi a bit of confidence. His confidence looked shot to bits and didn't really help. Now that he wasn't playing great either, but maybe again this break will give him the chance to show people what he can do. And maybe with not having fans in the stadium and knowing that they're groaning a bit or thinking, why is he coming on or why is he starting, it might just release that pressure a bit and he might play freely. And he could be a real asset, to help out Lolly and Amiobe. And yeah, that brings me on to a bit of contract news. So I think from day one I've always spoke about Forest players that are in need of a new contract. So the likes of Ben Watson, Michael Dawson, Sammy Amiobe. We won't talk about Sabri for the time being. But yeah, it hasn't been confirmed by the club, but there has been, unconfirmed reports from, a few sources that Sammy Amiobe has signed a new, I think it was a 1 or 2 year deal with the club. And hopefully that is the case, because I feel like he is a good asset to have, especially if we do go up. I don't think he would start if we went up. I think we would bring in reinforcements. That's why he's not been given a bigger contract. Same with this season. I think this season was seen as a risk as well. How long it was going to be. If it was a year, if it didn't work out, great. It didn't work out, get rid of him. Instead of having a big contract and having to pay him off if we couldn't move him on, like we have done with some players in the past. But he's had a good season under his belt, and I think, for all the ridicule he got when we first signed him, myself included, he's proved them people wrong. He's popped up with a few crucial goals. Performance against Leeds, he played well against Derby at home. He's really, proved some doubters wrong, which is strange. His frame, he didn't really look like he'd be able to run as well as he could, as quick as he is, how agile he is. But he's proved people wrong. He's a valuable asset, and especially going forward, assisting Graben. Him and Graben's partnership is, been imperative to why Forest have done so well in this season. Their link-up play. I don't think if Amiobe's not there, and Graben might not get as many goals. So, I think you've got Lolly as well, but I think having the two, if one's having a bad game and if one can step up, so a year's contract's well deserved. There's no official word on Dawson and Watson. I'd be very surprised if Forest don't offer Ben Watson a contract, as I've said before, how he's been. And I think Michael Dawson as well. You see the passion of his bench cam, how he is. But if he does go, then he'll always be a little bit of a legend, I think, in people's eyes. But people will be happy if he does leave. I think people want him to get a coaching role, but I think Dawson still wants to play on. And again, it's nice to have that experience on the bench. If Figueiredo or Worrell gets injured, just for him to come in and calm the back four down. We've seen it at the start of the season. I think the way he started, and I think he got injured against. I can't remember. He got injured at the start of September, and then Figueiredo come in, and Dawson not really been able to win his place back. But just have the experience around, even someone who's been in promotion-winning teams as well. You can't buy that experience. So hopefully Dawson does stay, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's the news that's been coming out in the club recently. In the last week or so, like I said, I think it was last Sunday I uploaded, so not a lot's been happening in the department. It's really warm-up matches and the stuff I've just covered. But now we'll move on to the former players that Forest have employed over the past few years have come out and said stuff. One was proper serious matter. I think the other one was just a bit of a joke really on Twitter that people were sharing, but I think you'll know what we're talking about. But the first big news I'm going to come out with is the Matty Fryer. I feel like you like buses with Matty Fryer. You don't see him for years, and then he pops up again, and then you see him again in the space of a year, trying to criticise Forest. So yeah, Matty Fryer has come out and said He is suing the club, claiming his former club were negligent in treating his injury, which ended his career. So obviously, Fright was with us for a few years. Did start quite well. And then he got injured. And apparently now that he didn't play since 2015 and he retired in 2018. So for 3 years he didn't play. He said that we pressured him to play, causing him damage that ended his career prematurely. He feels that he could have still gone on. So this is what Matty Fright said in a statement. He said he felt like his career had been taken away from him. There was no care. He felt sick, frustrated and sad. And how I was alone, abandoned and let down. Forest's lack of understanding and their ignorance was so hard to take. They don't want to take responsibility. You were an object. I was put under pressure to play, and forcing me to play caused me damage to the end of my career. So strong words from Matty Fryer. Bold claims as well that Forest were very negligent towards him and, let him feel alone when he was going through this injury, and forcing him to play made the injury worse rather than letting it heal. I don't know. I think it's one of them behind closed doors things, really. You don't know what's really gone on. It's a bold claim to make. My biggest question on this is why has he chose to come out and say it now? If he retired in 2018 and 2 years later, why is he choosing to come out and say it now? I'm not too sure. It's something probably you'd have to ask Matty Fright about. It's a shame though, because he was, Forest chased him for quite a while, and eventually we did get him. I think he was injury prone before that. I think that's what many Forest fans are a bit angry about, that saying that he was an injury prone player when we signed him. So why are you making a big song and dance over this? Because you got injured quite a lot anyway before. Like if you was this perfect player who never got injured and then picked up an injury and then couldn't come back from it, then I think people might understand and say, okay, maybe something's a bit wrong with that. But I think it's one of them. You don't know what happened unless you were there witnessing it. So, of course, he could be telling the truth, right? Or he could just be saying this. For me, it's a weird one. I don't know whether or not, it did happen, because he was injured quite a lot, more than usual. And the injuries did keep flaring up. At least sometimes players do get back on the pitch and then they do get the injury flaring up again. But he never returned after that injury, so I don't know. The only thing that's weird for me is why it took him so long to come out and say it. If in 2018 he retired, so why has it took him 2 years to come out and say it? I'd love to talk with him and ask him why and what actually went down. So if anyone does know Matty Fryer, DM me his contact details and I'll get him on the podcast. Now, I mean, it would be good, because I'm interested to see more of the story, but I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. His lawyer has come out and said it will ultimately down for the court to decide whether or not the treatment of Mr. Fright was negligent. We hope this case will contribute to the increasing focus on player safety, player welfare, and the duty of care owned by football clubs to their players. So it seems that he is going ahead with this. Sometimes we've seen Forest and Fawaz get in debates where it's going to be settled out of court. And we've seen it with some footballers as well, when they've had trials go to court. So we'll have to see if this will happen with Fry, or he really does want to take it further. I feel if he does take a settlement outside of court, then people might question it. But if it does go to court and it decides, then it'd be interesting to see if Forest do bring out a statement apologising. Forest haven't really yet to comment on what's going on with it either, but it'll be an interesting one to watch. Like I say, it is a very strange situation. But yeah, Matty Fright suing Forest, which I never thought I'd see that after 2 years after letting him go. But another player we did let go has now come out and said he was the best keeper at the club, and that was Mr. Stephen Henderson, who has come out and said that he was the best keeper at the club during his time, which again, raised a few eyebrows on Twitter. It's good to see on the timeline with some news about football coming back. So it wasn't just all about lockdown that people were putting on Twitter and reminiscing about old Forest games. It was finally good to actually have some proper news to talk about in regards to the football. But yeah, Stephen Henderson's come out and said he was the best keeper. He was better than Pantilimon and I think it was Jordan Smith at the time. Which, it speaks for himself, how long he stayed at the club, and even when he come back from injury, he didn't get himself back in the frame, did he? I think his last game was that Norwich game. I think what's the score when he come off? 'Cause he did a cruciate ligament, didn't he? He was out for quite a while. Again, don't know where it's come from, especially because again we didn't really treat him badly. I mean, I don't think it was disrespectful to the club, but he was saying, I didn't read the full article. I've seen the headline, a few snippets of it, so I didn't know whether or not he was saying what he was saying. But again, why is he? There's just no need at the minute. You've moved on. He's at Crystal Palace. I mean, I use that term loosely because he's not nowhere near the first team squad or match day 18. But still, you've gone to a Premier League club. It's like Jack Robinson coming out now and saying, I'm better than Ribeiro. I don't know why I was benched at Forest. You play for the Premier League now. You play in the Premier League, sorry. Why are you bothered what Forest are doing? Forest have moved on. They don't even play Pantilimon anymore. Jordan Smith looks like he's on the way out. And you just didn't get your chance. You couldn't have been that good because when you come back from injury, Pantilimon still. Again, I don't know. And Pantilimon wasn't great. That's why we brought Bryce in, and that's why Sabri got rid of him. So, you can't really, come out and say, I was the best keeper at that club, because they would have given you a chance. But, I don't know if these players can't move on, or they just want to... I don't know. I don't really know what's going on with it, really. It was just two bits of articles that I was reading, and read bits of, I was thinking, what's going on here, Alan? I don't even think Henderson would be backup keeper at the minute. No disrespect to him, because he was a good shot stopper. Like I say, at Charlton, he was really good. When we signed him, I always thought he was going to play backup. I don't think he was going to be number one. I mean, you can't dislodge Jordan Smith. I mean, no disrespect to Jordan Smith. This podcast is turning into a right goalkeeper bashing, isn't it? I don't have no disrespect to these, because, I tried to play in goal, but I can't do it, so... I don't know how they do it, and I no disrespect to them, but you can judge from other people. Like, obviously, Samba's a good goalkeeper. Pantilimon was okay. Jordan Smith couldn't catch. You can analyse it. Stephen Henderson, he was a good shot stopper for Charlton, and he had a few good games for us. I remember against Aston Villa when we won 2-1. When he started, he made a great save. I can't remember who he denied. Outstretched arm for Villa to stop them taking the lead. But yeah, I don't know why you've had to just say it, because obviously people are going to come for you on the timeline. Of course, if it was De Vries saying that, people would be saying, yeah, of course, you were better, we was gutted to see you go. But I don't think many Forest fans were gutted when Stephen Henderson left, and that's why he was being ridiculed on Twitter. Same with Matty Fryatt again. He didn't play many games for us. You sat injured, I'm going to say sat on your backside, but he was injured as well, and picked up your wage. And that's why people are moaning as well. Like I say, if we didn't pay him and he was on a pay-you-play contract, I can understand why he wants to sue Forest. But are Forest going to sue him for all these times he played and didn't take a wage? No. I think that's against the law, but if they could, I don't think they would. So, it's been a strange one this week, with Forest coming back and then former players giving their opinions that some people have found wrong. But it keeps you on your toes. You always know that you never know what's going to happen in football. It's been an interesting read, especially with Matty Fryatt, because, say 2 years, probably in the 5 years really, there was that picture that went around. Was it Paul Taylor, I think, shared it. He was in a car showroom, Matty Fryatt was, and it was the first time anyone had ever seen him. Since he got injured, there was no mention of him in the matchday squad when he was going to come back. So it was just like this guy appeared out of the blue. I think the only time he did get mentioned was when he got released. So that very, very entertaining. But I'll keep an eye on that one. Obviously, any more news, I will keep you updated. But yeah, guys, this is a much shorter one today because I've covered on really what I need to cover. not really a lot more to talk about. Normally, obviously, I have my player of the decade. When I spoke about that, there was a lot of things to cover. Same with games of the decade, best game, whatever. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Hope you have enjoyed it. Normally it's just me rambling. Hopefully in the future I might be able to get someone else to come on with me now. Lockdown's easing. I might be able to have a guest on, and hopefully I'm going to try and branch out. I mean, don't quote me on this, and it's very ambitious, but I'd love to try and get some players on, ex-players or even current players, just to talk about, their time at the club, kind of like an Under the Cosh kind of thing. If you watch that, if you don't, give it a watch. They are pretty funny. There's a Paul McKenna one on there. It talks about his time at Forest, and that's not even a paid promotion that they're telling me to say that. That's just off my own back. But if it does find its way to Under the Cosh, I am available if you want to sponsor this video. But no, in all seriousness, give that a watch. And hopefully now with lockdown easing and football coming back, I might be able to talk about a lot more things in more depth and get more content out to you guys that are enjoying the videos. If you are new to the channel, like I say, give it a like, subscribe, follow us on social media, tell your friends. If you have any ideas for the channel, say I always welcome feedback. Constructive criticism just help me to improve this channel even more. And I hope you are enjoying it. And make sure you keep an eye out on Friday. I will have the match preview for Forest first game back against Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship, as we look to secure our Championship playoff place after the restart, after the pandemic. But yeah, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Again, it's just a little bit of fun, just to, take your mind off stuff, just get away for a bit, just listen about your favourite club. So, hope you've liked it. Stay safe, guys, as always, and I'll speak to you on Friday.